Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another edition of Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Jar, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. In this edition, or very special edition, we are glad to have members of the Liberian Associations in the Union of Liberian Associations in Norway. We have our brothers and sisters all the way from Norway. The place, as we learn, we're growing up, sometimes it can get dark, sometimes it can even get no day. That's all the way in Norway. We are so happy to have them joining us on a special edition, which is a presidential debate. Members of the associations of Liberian associations in the Union of Liberian Association in Norway going to be selecting or electing a new code of officers. To do that, you have to debate the issues. And so we are going to be here to have a family conversation. Joining me from Norway is Michael Quer. He is the Secretary General representing the Elections Commission. Michael, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you. I'm glad to be
here. Great, thank you. I also want to welcome Mr. Emmanuel Soa. He is the current president of the Union of Liberian Associations in the Kingdom of Norway. Mr. Soa, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Great, it's a pleasure seeing you again. Let me also welcome the only presidential candidate here tonight. We have three presidential candidates. Due to various reasons, they were not able to be here, but we have Reverend Eric Neto Warner, who is going to be contesting for the presidency. Reverend, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. Please share the show. We are live on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. So there should be no reason why you shouldn't. So call your friend, invite somebody, and let's discuss. I want to start off with just how are you guys doing in Norway? Let me start off with someone who I met maybe almost 30 years ago. And I'm glad to see Mr. Emmanuel Soa, who were refugees in Guinea. Welcome, sir. Good to see you.
Thank you so much. It's a great privilege, to come again across friends that probably, we all were there and we were struggling for different things. And we had this hope that one day opportunities were going to come, but we didn't know. But we did meet in the UNESCO club, which you happen to be one of the members. And I was like serving like a local leader where we had a school for people who couldn't read and write and all of that. So it was a lot of struggle. But again, like I said, I'm so happy to meet you when you were able to, in fact, recognize me immediately. So thank you that we have the opportunity to meet. And I hope that this discussion tonight could be a way to drive the light that will sound always in our ears and minds and hearts, that in life, no matter what happens, we will turn around, we will come again, and we meet again on another objective. And the most important thing is, how do we get across to solve a problem so that we all can be happy? I think this is one of the main reasons why I accepted to be here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let me hear from Michael. Michael, how is Norway? What is the time there now? And how is the association doing?
Right now, I'm visiting in Canada. I will be in Norway pretty soon. But I think these guys in Norway can tell you how is it going in Norway, how things are going in Norway. But I'm fine, and the weather here out here in Winnipeg is good in Canada. I'm in Canada.
Great. Thank you. Let me talk to a presidential candidate, Reverend Warner. Reverend, how's everything in Norway? How's the association? And where exactly are you located in Norway?
Thank you very much once again for having me. I live in a place called Tonsberg. Tonsberg happens to be the oldest city in Norway. It's over 1,000 years old. And the weather is perfect. This is the best time of the year. We are in the beginning of summer, and it's just perfect. So far, so good. This year's election is one of the most exciting things that's happened. I'm sure the president will bear me witness. One of the exciting things that happened to ULAN. Everybody seemed to be engaged and keen about this election. So it's a lot of activities going on. It's also fun for me. I'm enjoying the ride.
Thank you. Let me go to Michael now. Let's talk about the elections and the current situation. Let's talk about the elections. What are the positions available? When it's going to happen? And just describe for me the mood of the people, the excitement, or what the expectations are as we go into elections. Let's talk about elections, Michael.
Well, the election, it is very electric. There are a lot of momentum. We have never had an election of this kind before, because this election is the result of the All Liberian Peace Committee initiated our setup, so that all the Liberians from all corners of Norway will come under one umbrella, which is ULAN. But I will allow the president to expand on that later on. That's why, I invited him here to talk a little bit about ULAN, the history, and why we are having this election. But people are very excited. People are coming up in large numbers, and people are really, desiring change. They want to see all Liberians together. We all have different views, different perspectives, but people are very much engaged into this election process, and they are very much excited, to be part of it. Yeah.
Thank you. So, what are the offices, the positions they are running for? How many people, and what does the process look like?
Well, the current administration is leaving totally. So, according to the mandate, all those that were part of, or that is part of the current administration, will not be allowed to participate in terms of trying to run for office again. They can vote for a candidate, but will not be allowed to hold political office or to run for political office. So from the president to the financial secretary, to the secretary general, all the positions are open and up for grabs. And right now it has been going so far. This is just a kind of family election, the way we look at it from the EC perspective. We see all Liberians in Norway to be one big family. So we want to be unified under a new leadership that will transform. And our people say, you have to sit on the old map to build a new, to plant new map. So to build on some of the things that this current administration has, built on, and to kind of solve the problems that we saw that the current administration are not able to solve. So we believe that somebody from the candidates that will lead and their team will try to solve those problems, bring Liberia on one umbrella here in Norway. Yeah.
Thank you. Let me go to the current president, Mr. Soa. So, Mr. Soa, tell me a little bit about ULAN. That's the Union of Liberian Associations in Norway. And let me remind you, I watched your interview in 2013 when you were being interviewed. You have just gotten into office. It was not even, this was 2012. And that's the place you talk about even the projects you were doing in Liberia with the students at the university. So since then, so just tell me a little background for those who are just getting to know about ULAN for the first time. Tell me about ULAN. Why does this organization exist, and what are you doing currently?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Emmanuel Msua, and I'm the current president of the Union of Liberian Associations in Norway, for short, ULAN. And historically, I will take you back to 2005, when Liberians newly arrived in Norway. And there was that tendency of, people celebrating their homes. That is July 26, where people would just gather around. But then some guys with good brains and great aspirations thought that probably it would be better to gather somewhere. And in the historic town of Kongsberg in that year, 2005, a very good number of Liberians attended that particular July 26 celebrations. It was about July 26 celebrations. But later, when some guys saw the momentum and the level of attendance, they thought that probably they could inject an idea where they could put up an organization that would probably be like a kind of umbrella organization to steer up the affairs of other organizations in the communities. So that was done. And the keynote speaker at that particular meeting was the then Consul General of Liberia, Dr. Dege, Tolmo Dege. So he attended the occasion. He graced it very good, and people felt that what he started could continue. So the following year, from Kongsberg, that was from 2005, they went to Vaso. And in Vaso, the late Joseph Nimle-Wiba, Mr. Joseph Nimle-Wiba, who was then appointed as a tentative leader of ULAN, proposed the idea of drafting a constitution that could guard the organization. And I think those guys agreed, and they wrote a constitution. And that constitution is the one that followed, that the ULAN, the activities of the organization followed. And they continue like this. So July 26 has been the kind of historical story in the lifeline of ULAN, that every year people met in the various municipalities in Norway. So just to give you a little rundown of where they have been, from Bergen, from Vaso that year, they went to Bergen, which was then the next city. And then from Bergen, they converged right to Oslo in 2009. So in Oslo 2009, ULAN was having a convention, and a colleague of mine told me, he said, "Oh, but we have a Liberian organization, which is the umbrella organization, and probably I will invite you so you could be just an observer." And I did go there, but I did ask for the constitution, and I read it, and I saw it like something good. So that's how I attended, and later on, I started to work with them. So ULAN, first of all, was built with the thought of this organizing Liberians around a community, because, we just came from war, and people felt that probably gathering the communities and celebrating could be a very good way that people will get to know each other, people will forgive each other, people will see that there's a need for reconciliation and peace. So in fact, we live in exile. So that went on for some time. And when President Ken Mablo, who was then the president, left office in 2012, I was elected. And one good thing that President Mablo did was he established the scholarship program. And when we came in, we saw it as a goodwill. So we just built upon it, and we had these students selected, and 30 students per semester, 15 boys and 15 girls, just to be able to satisfy the gender equality. And then we sponsored those children from 2010 up to 2018. Reason for which we stopped the scholarship program was because when President George Weah decided to take the affairs of students, of the student activities at the University of Liberia, then we felt that there was no need. Nevertheless, we initiated another course. We felt that probably it would be good that we establish a student exchange program. And we work with that through the help of my vice president, Mr. Michael Foster, who was studying at the University of Tromsø at the time. So it became easier for us to strike the deal. We were able to pull down the administration of the University of Tromsø to Liberia. So when we got to Liberia in 2014, we went to the Faculty Senate. The Faculty Senate is a special gathering where the faculties meet, and then they have their plans to discuss. And suddenly we appear, and they said we have a group from Norway who is coming with a very good idea. And they asked me to speak. And I stood up and addressed the Faculty Senate, and I told them the objectives of ULAN, and I told them why we were there. And they embraced the program. We developed a memorandum of understanding where students from the University of Liberia could travel to Tromsø University and acquire a master's degree or doctorate degree if they wished. The only condition we had was we didn't want to have any Liberian coming here to study and then begin to think about, oh, I want to stay here. We said no. We wanted that right after you are finished, get back to the soil and help the people that are there. And so in that scenario, we were able to meet the foreign minister at the time, one Augustine Gaffua, I don't know, Gaffua, yes.
Yeah.
We met him and we told him how the role we wanted him to play. And we met the Minister of Education. We talked to her and we told her the role we wanted her to play. So this was another phase of our, thought about developing, great chances for Liberia. And then when we came back.
Thank you. And we'll continue more. We'll continue more. That's why I want you to stay here until the program ends so that we can hear more about. Let me go to Reverend, the lone presidential candidate here tonight. Just tell me a little bit about your association with the community. When you joined ULAN and what your involvement has been since then.
Okay. Thank you for the question. Well, President Emmanuel Sua said, ULAN actually started, the mobilization for this whole thing started around 2025. We were a group of Liberians in a place called Rukan. We had just come to Norway in 2024. So we were connecting with Liberians who came from Sierra Leone and other parts of, the place. So a couple of them got to me who knew me because I was involved in the Liberian activities. We had a Liberian union in Sierra Leone. So people from there came to Norway as well. So we're thinking this idea was floating around. And when it was July 26, I got a call. Oh, we are celebrating July 26 in this place. Would you like to come and be part of it? So I came down there, I met some of the guys. I came with a team of guys from my town. And then discussing from one thing to another, we thought, why not just, instead of having just a July 26 celebration, why not organize Liberians in a group, in an organization? And one of the things that contributed towards that was the convention model of meeting. It was not just coming to celebrate July 26th, but I suggested to the body that we have a convention where we have a business session. We discuss our finances, our year under review. We select our leaders. We choose the next location for our convention in this kind of setup. Instead of just coming together to celebrate July 26th, everybody go back and then we come back the next year. So that has stopped. Since I made a suggestion, it was accepted, and that's the model that's been used since then up to now. My other contributions to the organization and involvement with the organization has been on different levels. I'm a pastor, and we have Liberian activities and Liberian churches, Liberian pastors, and people Liberians in different parts of Norway. So for a couple of years, I was called to be like, the New Year's Eve watch night service in a place called Kongsberg, where we have a group of Liberians staying. I was going there for a couple of years because this is something that's part of our Liberian culture. The Norwegian people don't understand that, why we do that. So it was something that Liberians were gathering from all over to come and be a part of. I was a guest speaker for, I think, 2 years or 3 years in a row. Not only that, during the Ebola initiative, I was asked to join a committee with a group of very vibrant, hardworking ladies to raise funds. So we went out in my community. I took them to churches. We raised money. We went to the streets. We did outreach in the rain or sun. And through one of my connections, we got access to an entire warehouse. There was a guy who owns a warehouse that was gathering things to send to Eastern Europe. So my friend told me, oh, you guys need a lot of things. Let's meet this guy at the warehouse. So about 90% of all the items that were in that container that went to Liberia came to me through my connection with the guy who owns that warehouse. Not only that we had access to the warehouse, but I was physically involved in driving, lifting things in the container, several trips back and forth throughout. And apart from that, there are many other things, details. But I have never said this before, but this is the opportunity for people who don't know, who think that I'm just someone who showed up, who have not been involved, for them to understand that we have contributed and we continue to make our contribution in any way possible. I've hosted a whole mini summit. Where I live, we don't have where I used to live, we didn't have a Liberian community there. Well, a few people, 6, 7 people. And I mobilized those 6, 7 people. We hosted an entire mini summit for the community to come and discuss and move forward. But we were connecting with networking with Liberian community, and that's what I'm doing up to now. That's why I have a passion for this job and to see our community develop, unite, and network together.
Thank you. And we'll come to you and ask you the presidential question, but let me hear from Michael about the elections timetable. When is election?
So we'll be having another debate on the 28th, and I think it's the 29th that we'll be having an election in Drama, and there will be a series of events. So this election is down there about election, but it's bringing people together and make sure that people get to meet each other, network, and spend some quality time together, see people in person. That's what this the convention or the election process. Then where people come together, from different part of the country, and get to touch base with each other again, and kind of network. So we are excited, looking forward to that.
Thank you. Let me go to Mr. President. Mr. President, I know ULAN is a union of different associations. What are those associations that make up ULAN, and what has been ULAN's connection with other association or communities like the one in Sweden or other parts of Europe, Canada, and other parts of the world? What has been your affiliation?
Our ULAN has been very much like we have had a little bit of struggle. We have to be very practical and pragmatic in our endeavors. To get Liberians to really stand as a group has been a very tough time. And when I took over, if I say I, probably I'm just speaking because I like president, but I'm speaking about my group. When we took over, these are the initiatives that we met. We saw these problems, and we were trying to say, okay, other Liberian communities who are not a part of ULAN, we could bring them on board. But to answer your question directly, we have had Tromsø as part of ULAN organization. We have Bergen as part of ULAN organization. We have Kongsberg as part of ULAN organization. We have Telemark as part of ULAN organization. We have individual members from Drammen, Oslo, and at some point, even the organization in Oslo became a part of ULAN Remote 2010 when I was attending one convention. The president boldly spoke that they wanted to be a part of ULAN. But all these affiliating organizations are there. But then we have this group in Trondheim that called ULAN, and then we have another group in Kristiansand, and there is another group in Bærum. But these groups have not been they are not like groups that stand against the policies of ULAN, but they were not in line, in concurrent with the formation policy. That is to say that because they were not present, so it's like they couldn't be a part because they were not present. And they have one or two things that they wanted changes for. So we have been struggling with that to try. So that's why this peace talk that as the brother Michael just mentioned, that peace talk was initiated by the ambassador accredited to Belgium, to Germany, who is also our ambassador here. And when she visited here, she said, look, you guys are doing well. We see a very good platform. You guys work and try to put yourself together. And that's a peace process that is leading to this election. Now, when it comes to our affiliation with other organizations in the diaspora, mainly maybe in Europe or in a part of the Americas, we attempted to actually join EFLA. EFLA is the Federation of Liberian European organizations in Europe. When we were about to get into their membership, we experienced something that gave a little setback where because we met the president at the airport. At the time I was in president, I was just ordinary member, but I was invited to be a part of that delegation. And we met the president at the airport. We took the president from the airport up to Kristiansand. And what idea was, they thought was, okay, Kristiansand and EFLA and us, we could discuss, and then Kristiansand could join ULAN and we all be a part of EFLA.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you really for your honesty. And I have my friend here, Mr. Francis Mensah. He said, following closely on behalf of EFLA. So I'm so excited about this, that this could be the beginning of a new start, that we all Liberian organization can come together and work together, because our needs are the same. We have the same objective, the same goal. We all want to contribute towards our motherland. And so it's very important that we come together, and Focus on Liberia is very excited to be a part of this. In 2018, we had Liberian communities around the world where we interview Giflan from Norway, Francis from, at that time, I think it was in Sweden also. We interview people from Canada, in Japan, and it's so exciting. And I think we at Focus on Liberia we're even going to do a better job bringing in some of you into our everyday discussions so that we all connect. So let me ask you, Mr. President, with all this, why do you want to be president of ULAN? And why do you think the people in Norway should choose you over other candidates? But let me first hear why you want to be president.
Thank you very much. First of all, from my background, over many years of working in leadership, both in church and in other areas, I feel like I have the experience. I consider myself to be a tactician and a strategist that is needed to do this job, that is actually caught up for this job. Mind you, we are in a transition. It's not just like taking over leadership in normal times. We're in a transition period where we had just had a peace talk. A lot of things are not in place. There are people who are not aligning with the principles of ULAN, and there are people who are staying on the outside. This current leadership is on the way out. They don't have the time to be able to continue the process that they started. So they need someone who can come into the picture as a leader, that the other people who are not a part of ULAN will not see as their competitor. Because this is where I stand out from the other candidates. People see them like they have taken a side in this issue. We can work with them, we can discuss with them. But most of the other organizations that are outside of ULAN, I've spoken to people from those organizations, I've listened to them, they listen to me, we have that rapport, they have that respect for me, they see me as a peacemaker, they see me as an advisor, they see me as a friend, not a competitor, they see me as somebody who has a vision and somebody who is able to bring everybody together under one umbrella. So that's the reason why, and this is the single most important thing happening right now that should happen among the Liberians in Norway, bringing us together. The other two candidates don't have that. Most people don't see them like the way they see me. And that's the reason why I feel that I'm cut for this job, I'm fit for the job, I'm ready for this job. And that's why I'm running for this position at this point in time.
Thank you. And what is going on in Norway is not unique to Norway. This is what happened in many Liberian organizations in the diaspora. So what are the specific steps you're going to take to not only bring other members into the fold, but also encourage individuals to be part of this? Because there should be incentive, there should be reason why I should be part of this. So what are you going to do specifically to first encourage people to join their local chapters and also be part of ULAN?
Yeah, some of the things I've been looking into are, first of all, we have to remove the barriers, the local organizational barriers that makes people want to protect what they have and don't want to be a part of the greater by engaging them.
And what are those barriers?
Yeah, we have like I said, we have smaller groups or regional groups who are not part of ULAN. They have the objectives, they have the goal, they see ULAN as a competitor. So when it's time for to do something, bringing everybody together, they protect their interests. It has happened several times, and we have records of that. So that barrier has to be removed, and the way to do it is to engage them into conversation. Come, let's sit on the table. One of the things I'm thinking about, one of the first things I want to do is to call all the leaders of these regional organizations to have a meeting together with all of them. Let's sit down, lay everything on the table. Let's start negotiating. Let's start talking about how. Let's look at Liberians in general in Norway, not the smaller groups. Let's see how we can give and take, how we can build something out of this, and build networks. Network together and see how we can move forward. So that's just one aspect. A lot of details here I've written down, but as time goes on, I will go into some of those details.
Yeah, before I go back to the president, so your first 100 days, your first 3 months, your first 6 months, your first 1 year. Let's start with 100 days. What on day one you think you're going to do? Why you think the people that you are taking after from did not do it, and what makes you think that you can accomplish that? But let's hear about your first 100-day plan.
My first 100-day plans. Number one, I'm going to have an orientation for us, the people who coming into, who taking over from the current administration, and that orientation is going to be with the presence of all. I'm going to invite or ask the presence of those outgoing leadership to sit down with us, have a seminar, go over every detail of things that we need to know, kind of orientation for us coming, because we can't assume that we know everything. So my first job will be to organize such a meeting, to learn from these people, to understand how they manage certain things. And then when we get that knowledge, the next thing would be for us to do now is to start engaging the local leaders in the communities, see how we can bring them together and start discussing the way forward. But I expect, one of the things I expect to do is to have, it's not difficult getting the number, the figure in numbers. How many Liberians live in each commune in Norway, each city, each town? That's one of the things I want to do. Within 3 months, that should be done. We should have a number of all Liberians, addresses, contact to know where they are. And then the current administration had worked through the peace deal to set up the region, to set up Norway into 5 regions. That's one of the things I have on my mind, but it's already done. So what we're going to do is to start engaging those regions, visiting the communities in those regions. We're going to divide ourselves into teams. Within 3 months, my vice presidential candidate, I already talked to her. We will split ourselves into groups and visit all these people to say, we are here, we're welcome, we have come to listen to you. What can we do better? What do you want us to do? So these are just some of the steps that we intend to take within the first 3 months. And by the time the 3 months is over, or less than 100 days is over, we believe that we will now have a platform, we will now have a possibility to connect with the people. You understand me? But not only that, I intend also to have a regular monthly connection with the people by digital means. Every month coming out, giving updates to them, for them to understand, to know this is where we are and this is where we're going. That will be a constant thing every single month.
Thank you. Let me go to the current president, Mr. Soa. I know we come from a society where turning over is tough. So how do you feel turning over to a new administration, and how are you going to make sure that this administration pick up from where you left off? And there's a tendency that people who are departing outgoing leaders try to undermine so that they wouldn't say, oh, the new president is better than this one. So how are you going to make sure that the transition is smooth and that you are able to guide them, and so that they take off where you left off without you being embarrassed that they are going to do better than you?
Well, thank you. Then it reminds me of a very great writer. He wrote on organization sustainability. And when I read that book, one thing that I've taken with me, and I think I can live with, and I believe everyone who will believe in that can have a clear conscience, is that the organization is the ultimate creation. And what he meant by that is that we can all come in, we can contribute, you can do a lot of things. But at the end of the day, the organization should be able to flow from one end to the other end. You cracked a joke and you said you want to be another Robert Mugabe. Yes, of course, people will say that. And I don't enjoy people calling me that. But circumstances will cause these things to happen. But I believe that I have the potential, and any leader that emerges, it doesn't matter whether, you be a critic of me or whatever. What I believe in is that ULAN should be solidified. ULAN should be much more concrete and equal to any other competitive organization that we have. I want to believe that we live in a country that is modernized by real democratic processes. And this is one of the reasons why when Michael is saying that this election is much more potential and thing, I believe that the transition process, I don't think it should be a problem, because I'm going to give what we call the turnover note. I learned this term just a few days ago from my vice president. He was telling me you have to have a turnover note. And I'm preparing that. And it's not just going to be by saying that we just say, oh, thank you for coming in. No, we're going to give them good financial report. We're going to give them our administrative reports. We're going to tell them where we stopped. But again, I will be very cautious. It's left to them to take what they see on the table. Because right now, we have some earmarked projects. We have what we call the 5 thematic projects that ULAN has worked itself through. And it has to do with education. It has to do with macro loan programs. It has to do with health. It has to do with emergency relief program. It has to do with agriculture. So it depends on what they want to do and how they want to take it. It doesn't matter whether I attempted and I didn't do it, or I didn't do it right. The idea is the organization is the ultimate creation. And once it is created, it needs good leadership to be able to steer it up. I think I will be clapping and I'll be happy when I turn over that day. But I don't want to be disappointed. I will be happy if there is an excellence. But I will be sad if everything is going to be going again to turn to the same old thing. So that's why we want someone who can take something extra from the bag. So it's not going to be about Emmanuel Suarez's expectation. No, it's going to be about the Liberian community's expectation. So I hope I have answered your question, sir.
Thank you. And Robert says, Pro, please don't confuse YULA with ULAN. YULA is the association in America. ULAN is the one in Norway. So I'm seeing some comments. Let me go to our elections, Mr. Quay, to talk about, not that the other candidates not here, so we're going to bad mouth them, but tell me about the debate process. People are asking, where are the other candidates? So, and I know there's going to be a second round, or there's going to be a second debate. So just update our viewers on the whole debate process. Was this mandatory? Was it optional? And how come the other candidates are not here?
Well, all the candidates were equally invited to this debate, and this debate is a platform, or rather opportunity, that gives each candidate the platform to communicate their views about the agenda that they have for this organization. We spoke to all of them. They even, send in their pictures as requested for the poster and all their details. But suddenly along the way, they wrote in the chat room, although I don't still see as an official message to the election commission that they have withdrawn themselves, because I just want to remind you that doing the job for Liberian community, bringing Liberian together, is very tough. In the election commission, we are several people, but it is only me and Francis, which is the chairperson for election commission, have put a lot of effort into this, because people are busy with their personal lives, and sometimes it takes just one or two persons to be committed, and be consistent. So we brought this on focus on Liberia because Focus on Liberia is one of the premier platform that deals with Liberian issue. They don't only talk about politics, talk about different things, educational matter, historical matter, and whatsoever, you know. So I expected them to come and join the other candidates, for them to join to explain of their views and their plan for ULAN, but they withdraw from this whole event last minute time, and Mr. Wonder decided that he will continue. So, but we have another debate coming up, which of course they said that they will be part of, but yet I'm expecting to receive an official communication from them to give us that courtesy, because every time we write them officially through email, and we expect at least if they want to withdraw, they should at least write us back, in an official manner to show a lot of respect, or to at least support our effort that we are putting into it. But again, they have their own reasons. They don't want to be part of this particular digital debate, but they said it will be part of the in-person debate, which is the 28th. So they will be there to answer questions that the candidates or that the voters have in mind that we have prepared through the survey that was there. So that's it.
And thank you. And I have all the voters' questions. The voters have a lot of questions for you guys, so we'll keep those for the next debate, because we don't want to for Ari alone to get all the juice. But but Ari, let me ask you. Currently, ULAN depend on member association, paying dues or contributing towards the effort for the union, right? And also what people donate. Besides the membership deal or the chapter deal, how do you intend to raise funds to be able to undertake all the projects you want to take, all the things you want to do? How are you going to raise funds, especially as a non-profit organization?
Thank you very much. There are many options, many opportunities here. We could apply for for assistance through different channels provided by the Norwegian government, and through my own personal network, I raise money. I have projects in Africa that I raise money. I have a lot of connections through that, through churches, and through individual donors and stuff like that. But this is something that we as the leadership have to sit down and strategize towards how we can raise money. We have had events where we go into the streets and we cook Liberian food. I remember they had the event in Shan. They made Liberian food and just put it on the street and Norwegians come by, they buy the food, taste it, they like it, and we raise money through channels like that. We also could raise money through cultural events, organizing cultural events to display Liberian culture to the different communities, because it's not just like the money, but we're giving something. We are entertaining people, we are exposing our culture, we're making our culture known to raise funds. So there are just numerous ways of doing that, which we can explore. Some are already being done. Some are already being done apart from the membership dues. But like I say, I'm a person who is actually doing that right now. I send money to Africa every month. I have a lot of network. I have a broad network of of people that donate funds to us. I've used some of those connections during the Ebola time to raise money, to buy stuff, and to get stuff to send to Liberia. So I still have access to those. So of course I will explore them and look for other new ways, to raise funds.
Election is not far away, Reverend. So right now, what are some of the concrete steps? Because I heard you saying we could do this. What are the things that you and your team have written down that this is the way we're going to raise funds, not just digging from in people's pockets, but this is the way we're going to raise funds to support the project? And on top of that, how are you going to be accountable and transparent to your members?
Thank you. Like I said, we have food sales as a means of raising funds, cultural events, both in our churches and outside of the churches, to raise funds and contacting our donors, specific donors that we have access to promote our projects. Now, like I said, when it was Ebola time, I personally went to churches with these projects. I went to churches with a group of people. So we could take these projects because we have to be specific. Okay, if it's a scholarship program, we want to raise money for this is it. We come here, we go to various churches, we raise money, whatever comes in, comes in. So these are some of the means I intend to do for now. Then when it comes to transparency issue, when it comes to funds, this is one of the issues that Liberians are always concerned about. The current administration, they have worked very hard. I must give them praise. I must thank them for the job they have done, the foundation they have laid to make it easy for people like us to come up and build upon. One of the things I have discussed with a couple of people in my group is that, an issue came up some time ago where a group of people in the organization demanded a financial report spanning a period of 5 years, and they wanted it almost immediately. That cannot be done. It's not easy to go all the way back 5 years and start digging stuff up and come and arrive to that point. What I intend to do is that one of the things I said about using the digital medium to speak to the people every month, we're going to make sure that we give a quarterly report. Every 3 months, we have a financial report that will be published, both on the social media platforms and sent to emails. People have questions, they can discuss it there. Every 3 months. This is how I run my organization in Africa. I have a quarterly report coming to me from Africa every 3 months. Every 3-4 months, I get a quarterly report. I go through it. I send it to our donors. So I'm going to employ that same system. We will get the monthly report, the leadership will look into it, and then we will prepare a quarterly report to give to the general body. So in that way, nobody will say something wrong here, something wrong there. The documents are right there. If you have questions, you can ask. And if they are not satisfied, we give them monthly report if they want. Monthly report. If they want it, we will give it every month. I don't have a problem with that. Just to be transparent.
Thank you, because that is very important. Mr. Soa, as an outgoing president, how will you consider your role with ULAN going forward?
Well, I think we should be considered as people who are resourceful, if people will endorse us in that manner. Because the thing is, leaving these guys to take over, they can be energetic, they can be very much inspirational, they can be very smart, they can be very clever, but they need some guidelines and they need some support in so many ways. We are not going to interfere with their plans. That's not what we are thinking about. And I think I've spoken with a couple of my administrators, and we are willing to give them the support they will need. What they will ask us to do, we are prepared and willing to do that. And we can do that in so many ways. We can do that if they allow us to be probably in the board of directors, where decisions can be brought to the board for review, because based on our experience, we may not be perfect, but we can add a little bit of a candy to their plans and then let it be functional and workable. Because I will be very frank with you. It's not an easy thing for you to sit down as a leader to just plan and think that thing can be like straight jacket solution that works. No, you need the conglomeration of views to be able to have that plan to work. And that's what I want to remind even our incoming leaders. All of you should have what we call calendar of events, where you have your things planned according to the season and time, so that your committee that you set up are able to take up the responsibilities and tasks in good time. We have not been very clever and smart in these areas. These have been some of the areas because we lack the capacity. We lack people. But if as you are speaking, because when you go to the community one-on-one, you talk to them, you encourage them, I know you will have people who will want to voluntarily work. I'm not condemning the Liberian community, but I know that people will say yes, but sometimes they don't respond. So you have to be able to set up that criteria very clear. If you say yes, be ready to take up the tax. So I think I'm prepared and willing to give every support that any winning candidate will want from me, from the least position to the top position, I will be available.
Thank you. Mr. Okoye, election commissions are very crucial in every community because everything revolves around you. Any mistake, even the perception that you're going to be for this side or that side can throw the whole thing into chaos. And let me remind you that there are two events that always pull the biggest crowd in our diaspora community: to put leader in power, that's inauguration, and to get the leader out and to put leader in. So election inaugurations are always packed, but the time in between, nobody comes. How are you as election commissioner going to make sure that they look at you as credible, transparent, and that you are able to execute so that everybody will be satisfied and be willing that indeed the outcome was free, fair, and transparent?
This is not my first time conducting election. I've seen my experience on Bergen. I was conducting an election there, and certain group of people lost the election for whatever reasons. I don't know, but I brought ULAN in. I mean, sometimes when I think about the role, the various roles within ULAN or the Liberian organization, I try to remind people that this is a voluntary act. This is something that you put your time and your resources towards. I can remember I invited ULAN, the president came there and some other people to help conduct the election. So what I just did, I just announced the result. So when people go and throw the ballot, right there, we counted everything openly. So there's no way to even cheat, and we are coming with that same system. It will be open because the thing here is that I remind people that this is a family election. We all know each other. We are one way or the other related. And this is just a voluntary, very voluntary positions that people are running for. Sometimes people forget that this thing, is about giving yourself. Sometimes you give more than what you even have. It's not a position that you're going to be paid for. So we have no interest in a specific candidate. We love all of them. I will use the word love because I keep saying it's a family, election. We are one big family. We can disagree. We have different views, but we are not in Africa. Like during election time, people even go to the extent of even killing each other because of conflicting views. So we are happy that all the candidates have come together to grace this occasion because we want it to be participatory. And nobody is actually comfortable with us because they are a little bit skeptical whose side we are on. We have been accused of being on the current administration side, and we have called the current administration out live on some of the meetings that we have had. We tell them to not get involved in certain places. We don't have specific interest in any one of the candidates. We have interest in all of the candidates, because we are a small organization. We have relationships, we are friends. Some of us are relatives, so we want to conduct this election where it will be free and fair and everybody will participate because you can demand changes. But you should be the change that you want. That's the reason you see me and friends, we are very particular in giving our time and our resources to make this thing a success.
Thank you. We are our presidential candidate has some time crunch here, so let me ask him a few questions before we draw down the curtains. Mr. President, Mr. President Kennedy, most of the time, our organization, we are too focused back home. Every 5 cents we get, we want to send it back home until we don't attend to the needs of the members. So what will your administration do to incentivize membership so that I'm in Oslo or Tromsø, I can feel like, yes, I want to be part of this. But if the goal is always to send money home, I'm not some, yes, your pastor to say good name better than great riches, but people in Norway want to eat too. So what are you going to do for them?
Yeah. Firstly, the situation with people in Norway is way better than those in Africa, in Liberia. Um, while it is true that we need to strengthen our home base first before we do anything outside, I am not intending, I'm not intending to raise money and just send it to Africa. My goal here is to maintain certain projects that we have started with, to maintain those projects, to make sure that they are alive and they're running. And I don't know of many organizations here in Norway that give out money to the people, but I know organizations that I've worked with that because of the connection we have with each other, we help each other in times of need. We have a mechanic in the organization, somebody cares for us. He's part of the organization. We have a network where we can connect people to help people. Somebody's moving, it costs a lot to move. We men, we gather together, so we are coming to move your stuff. That's what we call network. We do it in my church. You understand me? If I'm moving, all the guys, ladies, this place I moved in right now, I had ladies from my church who helped me to paint this place. I did everything alone. But because there was a network of people who understand that we need to help each other, it's not just about giving money, but it's about the friendship, the connection, the being together, identifying needs and being able to do something about it apart from money. You know, we can tie everything down to money. Sometimes the things we offer people is more than money. You understand me? So, like I said, I'm not intending to raise a lot of money and send it to Africa. We have defined projects that we will support. I will work to raise money for that purpose. And I will work towards creating a cohesive network of Liberians here. If we have a group of Liberians in Tonsberg here or wherever we are, build our relations, become closer, identify needs among us in our local communities, and mobilize people from within our communities to help meet those needs.
Thank you.
That's my approach to it.
Thank you. That is very important because, like our youth, even our culture is slowly dissipating. Our language, schools, we all have challenges here: job application, immigration issues, and all that. So I hope these are some of the things that organizations can focus on to help their members. My next question is conflict. Conflict bound to happen, right? In most of the organizations I've been in, you will see a conflict between, for instance, the board and the executive, right? Always rubbing shoulder. I have witnessed maybe out of 10 organizations, 9 will break down because board and executive cannot agree. All kinds of conflicts do happen. What is your approach to resolving conflict? I believe ULAN have some already structures set into place, but what will you do when these kind of things happen?
Yeah, we actually in our chat room we're actually discussing certain conflicts that's happening right now, and people are divided over that. And there are a couple of things I look into first. My action should be based not outside of the Constitution. One, my action should be based on ULAN's goals, based on enhancing, promoting ULAN's goals and priorities. And my action should be people oriented, not pushing people away, but embracing people. So in conflict, like I've been saying before, in a particular situation, that I want to listen to both sides of the story. I want to hear what you think. I want to hear what you think. As a leader, it is a bad thing to be seen as part of the problem. I want to be seen as someone people can run to solve the problem, someone that both sides can listen to. It's not always easy because sometimes when you stand for what the goals of the organizations are, you have already aligned yourself against a certain group of people. So
Reverend, let me give you some practical examples. Sometimes the board chairman wants certain things done. They say, I'm the board. In the absence of the convention, we decide what should happen. And then the president will say, no, I'm the president, I should decide. Sometimes you want to send something back home. You got 10 members from Sino County, you have 15 from Lofa, you have 20 from Grand Jide. So they say, well, let this project go to Grand Jide. The other people say, no, let it go to my county. These are things that happen all the time. We want to do things in the school. Some say, let's carry it to LU. Some say, no, that government school. And then sometimes even the government in power, Some people support government, some people support opposition, and these things kind of always come in. What will you do, Reverend, when you are faced with those kind of challenges?
Yeah, that question you ask is something that could happen today, could happen tomorrow. But there's not a laid out pattern to say when this happened, I will press that button and press that button and press that button. We have to feel our way, we have to work it, we have to listen, we have to negotiate, we have to sit down. I believe in dialogue. And I believe as long as we don't rush into taking hasty decisions, we'll find a way out of it. As long as we maintain dialogue, no matter what happens, if we come against each other, we'll keep discussing this issue until we find a common ground. No decision will be taken on it until we find a common ground. If we can't find a common ground, we continue the discussion for as long as it takes.
Thank you so much. I like that answer. Let's conclude, and I will come to you so that you can speak to the voters. But let me go to Michael first for his anything else you want to touch on as far as the process is concerned, and what the members of the organization should know, and what we outside this place should to know, because it's not impossible for you to invite people from Liberia to attend.
Yeah, we want this election to be an opportunity for Liberians to come together in Norway, network again, after the coronavirus, after people have not seen each other for a very long time. We are friends before this election. After this election, we're still going to be friends. For instance, I can have contrary view to one of the strong members of ULAN, Ivan Kofa, and we can have conflicting. Let's say I am supporting one candidate and Ivan is supporting one candidate, and I go and start to insult Ivan because we disagree on something. I should remember that Ivan, first of all, beside this, Ivan Kofa, beside this election, we have a relationship, and we should remember that relationship has to continue after this election. The only difference here is that we agree on how things should be done. So people should not create enmities during this process. People should remember they have built relationships. It is important. All we disagree upon is the very ways how we want this organization to move forward. And we are a family. We are one people. We are all related to each other. If I go and throw insult at Ivan right now, Ivan has a family. I'm like the Kofa you are talking about. I know all of them. We are all almost like a family. You understand? If I insulting, how can I stand before one of his sisters or his brothers? You understand? And I look at him as not only a member of ULAN, but he also a big brother to me. So we should, remember that this is not like a political election where we have to kill each other because we have different views. We are a family, and we should remain that way. The election should bring us together, but not to divide us. There will be times that people will not agree with certain decisions, but I can guarantee you, from our viewpoint, we have no candidate in our special interest. We want everyone to participate, and this election will be free and fair for everyone. But remember, we are a family. Let's move in that direction.
Thank you. And just because you talk about Ivan, let me tell you, when we were growing up in our little town, Ivan has his balls, right? So it's football to play. So we all go there as kids to play. And before we play, all his chores he got, we will do everything because that's the correct.
Before you touch the net, but you have to play.
Right. Before you play with me, I mean, I got, my father want me to do this. So we could all play, but I have to finish this thing. So, and we want to play, so we have to join him to speed that up. Before I come to the current president for his last words, let me go to the presidential candidate. Look in the camera and tell the voters again why they should vote for you, why you think you are the best candidate, and what you plan to do for your community, the Union of Liberian Associations in Norway.
Thank you once again. Well, I see ULAN as a building. And in every building, you must have a solid foundation. And I believe that the current leadership and previous leadership before them, they worked hard to give us a good foundation. The success of what we are about to do, number one, was dependent on that foundation, which has been given, and on our ability and willpower to continue to build and take this thing to the next level. That's why my platform, I called it uh, you the next level ULAN, the next level ULAN. This current leadership is passing the baton on to us. If we fail, it will not be because they didn't do a good job. It will be because we didn't take the task, the challenge of moving this organization forward. I am a builder. I am a builder. I have started organizations. I have started a school, a clinic, churches. This is what I do. This is my expertise. I know how to build. I know how to establish things. I know how to maintain things. And that is why I have a desire, a burning desire to serve my people in this capacity. To serve. Leadership is not about being a boss. Leadership is about service. I want to serve you people to the best of my ability and to take ULAN to the next level, to bring ULAN to a place. This is my vision of ULAN, the future of ULAN. That ULAN will not be seen as a competitor. ULAN will rather be playing an overseeing role of Liberian organizations in this country, where everybody will be secure, not intimidated. There will be trust, because you know that we're not there to take anything from you. We are there as your leader to help you, to oversee what we are doing here, to promote our culture. Like, for example, the July 26th events that we've been having. I have a lot of good ideas about how we can take that to the next level. Liberians coming together, should not be centered around July 26th only, or when somebody dies, or when somebody's getting married. You understand me? It should be more than that. I want to engage the greater Liberian community in Norway, those that are in organizations, those that are not in organizations. I want to connect with the Liberian sporting communities. We got Liberian young men here playing football, playing different sports. We got our children here playing sports. We want to bring those people together. We want to feature them in our celebration. We want people to see the achievement of what Liberians are doing here. We want Liberians, educated people, people who are professionals. We want to bring them on board to share their experience, to encourage our young people in all of what we do. Most importantly, I want to be able to engage and to see that Liberians in Norway, the greater Liberian community in Norway, are participating in issues that pertain to their welfare, issues that pertain to the organization, the relationship together, and everything. Actively participating. And I want to provide a leadership of integrity, visionary leadership, somebody who can see ahead what is happening and take decisions. One of the problems we have among Liberian people is that people don't understand that the job of a leader is to take decisions. And decisions will always set people in your favor or people against you. As a leader, this is one of my strengths. I've been faced with decision making for many years, and I understand hard decisions will be taken. But here is the thing: some hard decisions are in the interest of the people you want to serve, but they will never see it that way. They will turn against you. They will call you names. I will not back down and compromise because I want to be in their good books so that I don't get a bad name, but I will take decisions that will be in the interest of the very people who don't know. But as I always say, time will tell. After a season, they will get to understand. So I want to provide leadership with integrity, visionary leadership, strategic leadership, experienced leadership. I have the experience in leadership for so many years. I have it. And I'm not just saying these things, there's record to show it. Okay? And yeah. So yeah. That's the reason why I want you all to vote for me. And I don't want you to vote on the basis of, I know this person, I like this person, I'm connected to this person. If you really, truly love ULAN, we are 3 candidates. Vote for the candidate that is the best candidate in terms of taking this organization to the next level. And I think that history will judge me. Among the three candidates, I stand out to be that one person among the three.
Thank you. Before I bring in the current president, we have an invitation here from Francis Mensa. He said, "Focus on Liberia, you are invited to attend our joint Liberian European Independence Day celebration in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. The celebration runs from Friday, July 28th to Sunday, July 30th. Francis is my former classmate from Morovia College. So, Francis, they're not friend business. Let's do the thing in real way. You want to invite us? Let's talk." But thank you, Francis, for the invitation. Okay, let me get our current president for his last word or his final thoughts on the issue. But Mr. President, what kind of, in your closing, I want you to address what kind of ULAN you want to leave behind. You want people to remember as what kind of ULAN you want to see 5 years from now as you pass the baton.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I know that you want to limit me a little bit because of probably time, but I have a habit of always being thankful first before I can run up just what you said. I want to say thanks to the Elections Commission, first of all, for giving the opportunity to the current leadership to be able to be a part of this. We are not here to debate, but we are here to give clarity and to give a clear picture of what ULAN is now and what ULAN has been. We are equally thankful as well to my current administrators. I want to say thank you for the support we've had from them over the years, and they've worked so hard. And there were a lot of challenges. ULAN could not have been where it is had it not been for their sacrifices and timeless, just like people working for themselves without salary, without anything, they will meet the sacrifices. I want to also thank our current ULANers, our Liberian communities. I know all have not been well, but we still stand to be the leaders we have been and the leaders we are. And as we leave, we still want to say that you supported us. You may not have agreed with us. We may not have agreed with you in totality, but we enjoy working with you, and we want to say thank you. Now, the question of what kind of ULAN I envisage for myself within the next 5 years, I'll be very practically clear with you. It's very difficult for me to envisage and tell you this is the kind of ULAN that I want. But the ULAN that I'm leaving behind is a ULAN that sorry if I said it, because somebody, if I speak of foundation, somebody say because he engineers, so he like to. But, anything that you want to build it first on the foundation. We believe that we have built the foundation because if you check the documents we're going to leave with this current administration, the next administration, you're going to find auditing committee that composed of people who will be auditing the organization on a periodic basis. You're going to have a financial reporting format that at least you can use. You're going to have the platform for meeting, like where we are meeting today, we have a Zoom platform that is already bought every month or every year. All we have to do to renew it. You're going to have formats for even writing minutes. So there are a lot of things that we have to do. Even membership forms are all established. Nevertheless, you don't have to take it as it is. You can revise it. You can do it the way you want. But what I'm saying is that the foundations are there. And so I'm leaving a ULAN that is a foundation upon which you can build to excel yourself. But what level or what degree should I categorize you on is going to be very difficult. But one thing that I want is a unified Liberian organization, an organization that can represent Liberians outside with representation. Where we can say, okay, Liberia is being represented, ULAN is being represented in Finland, ULAN is being represented in the United States of America, where you have that delegation coming from every angle, where every representation is made so that the people are satisfied. I want to see a ULAN where, we are crystal clear about issue. Decision making should not be just like you take the decision. One thing I want to talk about, I want to just mention here is stability in leadership. When you are not stable in your leadership, decision that you take the decision, you come back. All these things will create chaos. So I want to see a ULAN where decisions taken are respected and are in line with the Constitution. I want to have a ULAN where we are all equal, but let's respect our elderly people. Let's respect our colleagues. Let's respect our families. Let's respect every setting of our community, so that we all can come together to have a greater unity that can be much more representative for the future of our country, Liberia. So on this note, I'd like to say thank you for inviting me, the Elections Commission, and I think it was a pleasure being here. Thank you for Mr. Moderator, although, yeah, we've been good. I didn't know you too good, but we started together somehow. But I want to thank you for your cordiality. I think you have a great, if I were given the opportunity to rate you, I will rate you at least 97%, because I know that I've not been on your show before, but the way you lay out questions, the way you rotate around it, I think you have a great experience, and I wish you good luck, and I thank you so much. Thank you for the panel.
Thank you. Now, just to draw down and close, does any one of you has anything else to say that we have not covered before we draw down the curtains? I really, really appreciate your time here. And thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to host this debate. Anything else that you want to say before we close?
I
know you want to go to the wrong campaign. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for the opportunity afforded me here on this platform. And I want to encourage Liberians out there to go out, attend the program, vote. I want to encourage the other candidates to show up for the debate on the 28th. Let's give the people the opportunity to see and make a good choice. So I'm looking forward to the debate and to the program. God bless you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Coming up at 3 o'clock, right here on Focus on Liberia, we're going to have our business and economic forum we call FOL Marketplace. We're going to be discussing the IMF drawing rights. So it's business, economic, and finance, and everything in between. It's at 3 o'clock. That is in like an hour, 30 minutes. Come and you will witness that. Also at 7 p.m., we're going to have the Liberian History channel, where we are discussing nothing but Liberian history. We've been going through our presidential series. We are now on President Tubman, and we are doing part 3 of President William V.S. Tubman. Please join us at 7 p.m. Eastern. That will be 11 p.m. Liberia time. Until then, again, I want to thank all of you. Michael?
Yeah. How can people reach you if they want to maybe organize similar thing like this, and maybe they have their occasion? Because what you guys have done for us here is totally free of charge. I know you guys take donation and things like that. Can you elaborate a little bit on, how people can reach you, how people can get to you when they need to do certain things like this, maybe promote their organization or have a debate with a professionalism in the same manner?
Thank you. We can take most of that offline, but always contact us, focusonliberia@gmail.com, or you reach us through our Facebook Messenger page, or my number, which is on a WhatsApp number, which is, and I'm going to put that on the screen for you shortly. My so you can contact through my WhatsApp number, area code 978-726-6965. If you contact me through WhatsApp, or we have other numbers which you can contact us, but that is one of them. Our Facebook Messenger, also email focusonliberia@gmail.com. Any of those you can reach us, and we're definitely not hard to reach. If you see the number that is scrolling down, that's also another number you can reach us, 651-392-6224. That number is also our Cash App and our Zelle number for those who want to make donation. We want the programs we do here are many programs, very informative, very educational. We are the only platform that covers diversity of programs. It's unlike any other. We have history, we have literature, we have business, economic, and finance. Of course, we have politics and everything else. We have debates. So, and we want to extend more and more into Liberia, so we need your support. Again, thank you all for coming. Thank you for your time. We want to thank the Liberian community right there in Norway, and we'll continue to follow the elections. We want to thank our viewers for watching, and even those who will watch now, continuing to follow us, focus on Liberia on all social media platforms as we strive to educate, to elevate, and promote all things Liberia. As we close, we never close any broadcast without playing the song that says, "We are all Liberians." Whether you are Loma, Pele, Vi, Gio, or Day, we are all Liberians. Whether you support whatever party or you are from any political class, we are all Liberians. Whether you are in Norway or you are in America, Canada, Ghana, Guinea, or Liberia, we are all Liberians. So let's do whatever it takes to make our country the glorious land of liberty. Have a good day and God bless you.
We are Liberian.